We're going to talk Manchester United, Erik Ten Hag, Ruud van Nistelrooy, etc. in a few moments. Let's hear from Wayne Rooney first. He was a guest on Drive yesterday afternoon. Andy Goldstein asked the Plymouth manager just how far away Manchester United are from winning the Premier League title.
Yeah, a long way away at the minute, but I think
over 5 years.
It depends what happens over the next year or two. I think what bringing the new owners in, Jim Ratcliffe and Dan Ashworth, they've got a good group of people in there, I believe, and I think there's slowly but surely there's changes happening at the football club. I was there last week and seeing the changes happening at the training ground. You're seeing small changes which eventually will help the football club.
There were Wayne Rooney on Drive yesterday. Apparently, Erik Ten Hag's gone off on a mini break.
Oh, that's nice.
For a few days.
City break or...
I've got no idea.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Lounging on a beach somewhere.
Oh, that's nice. Nice to be able to just turn his phone off for a couple of days.
Well, he did say that he feels very confident he can go away without it being an issue, and he's on the right page with the board. They are apparently meeting today. You wonder if the managerial role will come up. If so, could it go to Ruud van Nistelrooy? Ruud van Nistelrooy. And how well suited would he be just to stepping up?
He seemed very confident over the last few days, but that is the only way he can beat it at the moment, or he can hold himself up, because if he would let his head go down, then everybody would be on top of him. And he's showing that last bit of resilience, which he probably needs to survive there, because everybody in the Netherlands is convinced that there is no future for him at Manchester United.
No, it does. I was going to say that. Does it as a feeling there that it's only a matter of time, you think, Marcel?
Well, I do think they will give him a bit more time, because the fact that they gave him a new contract use the option in his contract to extend it for another year, you don't really say goodbye to somebody in the first week of October after all the money they let him spend, because don't forget, they let him spend money on players which had very much his signature on it. Matthijs de Ligt, Joshua Zirkzee, countrymen. They let him use players from the Netherlands national team who were not really in the Dutch national side. And if I look at all the signings he has made, and maybe he will say, look, it's the board or the directors who back me up, or the scouting system, but you can't really go away from the fact that there's a big Dutch and Ajax connection there. And in the past, that was also the downfall for Louis van Gaal when he was in charge of Barcelona. And Van Gaal always said, I signed too many Dutch players and I won't make that mistake again. Yet he didn't do that at Manchester United, but it still didn't help him.
And what about this suitability of Van Nistelrooy to step up? There's this feeling that, even if it was an interim role, he would step in. I mean, just give us a little bit of background to his managerial career so far.
Well, for a start, it would need a lot from the board or the directors at Man United, Dan Ashcroft, Jason Wilcox, to convince Ruud to do that. Because when he signed in the summer, he was very motivated to go and work for his old club, but mainly because of the love of his old club and because he saw the potential of a number of young players there. Some of the strikers, Højlund, and Rashford. He knows the culture of the club. I think he realized that, or he felt that he could add something that Ten Hag could use, because Erik was, in my opinion, and I've always said it on this program as well, much more a coach or a manager in the Bundesliga for Leipzig, who made him several offers just before United finally got him. Erik worked at Bayern Munich. He knew the German Bundesliga. He speaks the language fluent. And all of that wasn't really there in England for him. He'd never played there. Now, Ruud can add that. But because of the background of Ruud and what happened to him at PSV Eindhoven in his first year, he'd really built everything up through the youth ranks. He was a great coach. He brought some brilliant young players who are now doing really well for PSV Eindhoven into the first team, worked well with them. And then at the end of his first season, where he won the cup, took the club to the Champions League, he won the Johan Cruyff Shield. At the end of that season, there was a bit of aggro, we could say, a bit of betrayal he felt. between him, his assistants, and a couple of players. And he felt there was a conspiracy there. If you look at that situation, in my opinion, the last thing he will want to do is stab somebody in the back or wants to be seen as an opportunist, because that's everything what he hated about his first season as a manager at PSV Eindhoven. So everybody who will say, look, Ruud was ready, he will do the job. I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy looks at it like that. And on the other end, maybe his love for the club is that big. And he wants United fans to be happy. If they do really want and put pressure on him to take it on an interim basis, maybe he will not walk away from it either.
Tough job to turn down, isn't it?
It is, and as he said, he loves the club and he'd want to help out if he could. But I know what you mean, Marcel. The optics of it, he'll be feeling like he was like dead man's shoes, which is not good.
Ten Hag seems bullish, Marcel. Is that the person you know will be hurting inside? Is it a brave face?
Yes, I think the way he's been acting against the media, against people who've criticised him, the way he's acted against or reacted against big icons, pundits, has been much more aggressive than I've ever known him in the past. There's one thing I really find is important for everybody to see, is that he has spent so much money, over 600 million in the 3 seasons now so far. It is exactly the opposite of what he did in the Netherlands. When he was at Ajax, he sold for 450 million, which is, and he worked with players who were so young. Most expensive players were about 12, 40 million, and only a couple of them. Only once he signed a player of 19 million pounds, Sebastian Haller, the French striker. So his quality is really with the young players, building them up, and he is good at that. He's a brilliant coach in that way at every club where he's been. He even did that at Bayern Munich. But to work with the big stars at a really, really big club, I think you need a different kind of management and style, a bit of flair. The Hiddings, the Mourinhos, I won't say Mr. Ferguson, but that is a different kind of job.
Interesting stuff. We'll see what happens. Finally, Marcel, sad news out of Holland the weekend. Johan Neeskens, one of the greats of the Rinus Michaels total football team of the mid-70s, passed away aged 73. He was just an amazing player, worked so hard. He was so important to that system, wasn't he?
He was one of my ultimate heroes when I was young. I loved watching him. He was really tough. He's been regarded as one of the hardest players, maybe the kind of Norman Hunter you had, and then of the Netherlands. And at the same time, he could play really well. He was called Johan Segundo, the second Johan, after Cruyff. And he admitted not long ago, because he was very fit, his death was a big shock to everyone, very suddenly. He said, look, the Brazil match in the World Cup of 1974 was the hardest match probably ever played in the World Cup. And Neeskens was really like a bull there. And he said, if that match had been played these days, I would never have made it until the end. I probably would have been taken off at half time, but so would have a number of the Brazilians. And he said, we had Johan Cruyff, we had Robbie Rensring, Johnny Rapp, Van Hanegem. We had some really, really classy players. But with just classy players, you don't win a world title, or you don't get the success. He says, we needed a bit of strong boys as well. Well, I tell you, he was really one of them.
Good to talk to you, Marcel. Thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.